if you break it down to the key players who are involved in this, and certainly US has been leading the charge on this, the genesis is fairly clear. If you go back about 4 or 5 years, you had a strong feeling, particularly post-Trump, that the Biden administration was going to disengage from the West Asia region, that they were talking about a pivot to Asia, and for them that pivot to Asia meant the Indo-Pacific, and that their focus would really be on China. And you could see the disquiet building in countries like Saudi Arabia and UAE, which had traditionally been steadfast US allies. I think the US commitment to the region came into question when both Saudi Arabia and UAE were targeted by supposedly Iranian origin drone strikes, and they took out a large part of the oil infrastructure of UAE. And the Americans didn't do very much to come to the support or the defense of Saudi Arabia. So you had that disquiet building, apart from the whole Adnan, the Khashoggi story, and the shadow that it cast on the relationship. I think a couple of years down their administration, the Americans realized that the West Asia region is too important to be ignored, and they need to dial themselves back into the region. Otherwise, they are leaving the field open for the Chinese. And I think this feeling particularly grew after the red carpet treatment that the Saudis gave to Xi Jinping when he visited, I think, in December last year. So all of that was conflating. But there was a second set of circumstances which was taking place, and that started with the Abraham Accords, which were inked about 3 years back during the last days of the Trump administration. And what they did was create this remarkable, rapidly growing relationship between Israel and UAE. And then Israel and UAE relationship, when they met for the first anniversary to celebrate the Abraham Accords in Washington, led to the genesis of the I2U2. Let's bring India into the equation. Let's create India, Israel, UAE, US as a nice little foursome to advance a strategic interest in the region. And interestingly, if you go back to October 21 and you look at the document that emerged from the first foreign ministers meeting of I2U2, and later reiterated during the first virtual summit of the I2U2, both speak about strategic transport connectivity. So you could see the seeds of this being sown during those conversations. And I think the Israelis were sort of the first off the mark, with Israeli transport minister at that time in the Netanyahu government, Israel Katz, speaking about a peace railway or a regional railway which could bring peace to the region by connecting countries that had hitherto been adversaries. So Israel is one of the most enthusiastic supporters of this of this corridor. And then you had the meeting of the 4 national security advisors in Riyadh in May this year. Our NSA, Mr. Doval, went, and the other 3 were there: US, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. And even though Israel was not there, it was clear that Israel is going to be part of the equation because they had been talking about it. And so you got the first inklings of this deal that was brewing after that Riyadh meeting of the 4 very powerful NSAs of these countries. And now that you've got this, you can see that it's been from behind, been carefully steered by the Americans. They have both China in mind and West Asia in mind. But there's nothing antithetic to our interests in this. While it's easy to say it serves the American interests, it also serves our interests for similar reasons. And that's why I think we can happily embrace it and go with it with full vigor.